This is GARIS Essays, that is 2-3 page opinion pieces on topics such as species dominance, the global state, politics, femtotech, religion, society and education. Written by and read aloud by Prof. Dr. Hugo de GARIS. This is essay number 48, I think, entitled Giving Everyone a $1 Million Education by Prof. Dr. Hugo de GARIS. Email profhugodegaris@yahoo.com. Website profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. By $1 million education, I mean the quality of education that would be obtainable if students had $1 million to spend on conventional textbooks. The Internet now allows books and journal articles to be downloaded for free using file-sharing sites and the conversion of paper format documents into electronic format documents using scanners with optical character recognition software so that later they can be searched electronically. Thus, an educational revolution becomes possible whereby students around the world with access to the Internet can educate themselves by use of their own electronic libraries that they can download for themselves and store on mass storage hard drives. And more recently, after I wrote this essay, the last year or two, Google has been putting up millions of links to full content textbooks. And one of my tasks as an ARCA after retirement career is as a globicator, a global educator. So I make YouTube lecture courses in PhD level pure math and math physics, and I make electronic libraries or e-libraries with links to tens of thousands of full content books, texts in those two or more subjects. Okay, back to the essay. The only obstacle to this educational revolution is the opposition of the Pluddites, that is, the paper Luddites, who are leftovers from the paper era, in which they place copyrights on the paper products, books and journal articles they packaged and distributed. In the paper era, they performed a valuable service, and the modern scientifically dominated world owes its existence to the paper publishers. But in today's internet world, with its cheap scanners, the copyrighted book or journal article is an albatross. Billions of people are now asking, why should anyone be forced to pay $50 for a single paper book when they can download 50,000 such books for free from the internet? The days of the Pluddite are numbered. Paper is dying. People can put a small library, for example, 1,000 books, on their iPad and annotate them very effectively with the appropriate software. Very soon, they'll be able to cross-reference such ebooks and e-articles at speed, instead of having to carry around a pile of heavy paper books. The globicators, that is, global educators, who are dedicated to providing free education to the planet, thus creating a worldwide educated middle class, which then pushes for democracy in dictatorial countries, and since advanced democracies do not go to war with each other, a globicated world would be a war-free world, are severely handicapped in achieving their goal by the Pluddites and are impatient to see them go bankrupt as paper products disappear, and hopefully the copyrights that accompany them. Millions of FIMers, that's F-I-M-MERS, M-E-R-S, members of the Free Information Movement, are waging a quiet war, the paper war, against the Pluddites by buying scanners and scanning books and journal articles and then uploading them to file-sharing sites for other students to benefit from. The FIMers do not feel guilty about breaking copyright in this fashion, a logic they reject as belonging to a bygone era. They feel they are on a moral crusade in causing the bankruptcy of the Pluddites, who are seen as keeping the world ignorant and hence at war. To the FIMers, the cost-benefit analysis is very strong. There will obviously be a cost to the Pluddites, namely their bankruptcy, so they will lose their livelihood. But the benefit to billions of people by allowing them to obtain a high-quality free education is even more obvious. To the FIMers, the Pluddites are criminals who, quote, imprison knowledge and should be eliminated by causing their companies to go bankrupt. With millions of FIMers scanning paper documents into the global educational library, there is no way the Pluddites can survive. Their demise is only a question of time. Ad-libbing now. I mentioned a bit earlier, Google is now putting out millions of links to full content books. So if Google is doing this, then lots of Globocators will also be doing this, because Globocators are small fish. Google is an ocean. Once the copyright system has disappeared, future academic authors will need to publish themselves and not depend on publishing companies to do it for them. This will not be much of a change for them in financial terms, unless they write blockbuster 101 economics texts and the like, because most academic authors make very little money with their royalties, probably only a few $100s per book and nothing at all on journal articles. I speak from my own experience here. An academic work usually only sells a few thousand copies at best. So unlike creators of pop music, movies or journalistic articles, the loss of only a few $100s will not faze the academics very much, and hence make the transition to free knowledge easier. A strong moral value will come into being that information should be free, so that the planet can educate itself to a high degree, giving all students a $1 million education. There are some 2 billion hungry minds who will benefit from such an education. So once they get the idea into their heads that the only thing preventing them from pulling themselves out of their impoverished shithole via free globication is the copyright system on paper publications, they will become a force of nature that is unstoppable in their global political opposition towards and hatred of the Pluddites. No politician could withstand their pressure despite the howls of the Pluddites, whose death knell will be tolled. The principal near-future task of politicians around the world will be to foster globication, because it will soon be seen as the essential means to raise people's standard of living. Getting a good education is usually the quickest way to pull oneself out of an inferior economic situation into a middle-class lifestyle. Within a decade, billions of people will be clamouring for free globication, so the politicians worldwide will have to listen, and the Pluddites, if they have any sense at all, will read the writing on the wall and get out of their dying immoral profession, especially if they're relatively young. Cheers. Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. Email profhugodegaris@yahoo.com. Website profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. YouTube channel name Hugo de Garis. Ciao.